in terms of building a business, definitely I would say voltage. The kind of education materials, it's priceless from my experience. There's no shortcut to business. If you want to do it right, do it step by step and then incrementally progress in the right direction. So I feel very confident after spending close to 1 year with voltage and also with the learnings I have obtained.
Welcome to the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast, a show where we interview high voltage entrepreneurs growing and scaling through e-commerce, real estate, and other wealth without Wall Street ventures, showing you the path to making your first or next million. All right, everybody, before we dive in today's episode, a quick disclaimer. Usually when that happens, you guys know that there is a case study, which is going to be featured today as a real case study on today's podcast. The conversation, again, is for educational and informal purposes and informational purposes only. Individuals here may have or have varying degrees of experience. Nothing discussed here should be taken as personalized or professional advice per se. So please do your own due diligence and consult appropriate professionals for your own specific situation relative to your business and outcome. So to make sure everything is really transparent for our listeners, I want to ask, Ganesh, did you voluntarily come on the podcast today to talk about your experience? Awesome. And you were never compensated or solicited to come here and be, compensated for your testimony?
No.
Okay. And then you have permissions to discuss the details of our work together today on the episode. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And you're comfortable sharing all those details with our audience or whatever you feel like you want to share?
Yes. I'm happy to share my experience. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I promise the questions won't be more invasive than that today. So guys, let's dig in with today's episode. We're going to talk about building a business. And what I want to do, maybe, Ganesh, just to kick things off, is share your story a little bit, maybe the beginning, where you came from, what you're willing to share about that, and ultimately what led you to this business model, and maybe what led you to finding voltage in the process.
Hey everyone, this is Ganesh. I'm based out of Northern California. I'm in IT as part of the profession. I'm kind of like exploring opportunities for the future growth. So that's why I stumbled upon Voltage Business Builders last year, beginning of last year. As I'm kind of in my early 40s, I want to take my future to the next level. So I was kind of exploring options or like how to take it to the next level to kind of improve myself as well as for my family. So that's why I stumbled upon this. I find it really interesting business idea. It's not like a normal thing that where we do something. This is really meaningful to establish as a business. And also like building a business is not like a simple trick that we can like turn it around. It involves a lot of right. That's why I felt like the model of voltage is definitely like along the lines, because it doesn't promise anything. But it provides you pure education based on the expertise and what's going around. That's why I got involved last year, right? And then I kind of like started working with voltage, and then started my first brand in Q3 of last year. My brand is Muga, it's only in Amazon, right? And then like in the Q4 of last year, that's when I started building my brand with 3 products with variations. And then Muga primarily specializes in the stainless steel products. So it's kind of the goal is to kind of like the normal stainless steel kitchen products at a premium level and affordable quality and pricing, right? So that the consumers can enjoy the privilege. So that's where like right now I'm in the stage of like 6 months is gone, right? So from the Q4 till now, I would say like I would come across a long way in terms of like how I started last year with minimal experience on the e-commerce side. Because even though I'm kind of like in IT, like I'm good in technologies, and then like I'm kind of like along those lines. But in terms of the business or building a business is kind of like a new forte for me. Definitely, I would say like voltage, the kind of education materials, it's kind of like priceless from my experience, because it's not a fixed template that will work for everybody, right? So each one has to find the template that suits their model and also adjust and adapt. That's why like the materials, definitely like the first 6 months, it's purely like pure gold from my experience, because it gives you the step-by-step process. There's no shortcut to business. If you want to do it right, do it step by step and then incrementally progress in the right direction. So I feel very confident after spending close to 1 year with voltage and also with the learnings I have obtained. Definitely, I feel like I'm kind of moving in the forward direction. That's the first step, I would say.
That's great insights. I'm going to unpack that just a little bit. You were in IT or in IT, and
Yeah.
why not stay somewhere in the IT world and find a business in that way or play with, I'm sure, around AI and technologies? What moved you to the physical product world as opposed to just the purely maybe IT world?
Yeah. I mean, it's always like, yeah. So even though in IT for the kind of decades, like always in the back of the mind, I always had a entrepreneurial mindset because my father is a businessman. He runs a business like back home, right? So always have an interest of like on the management side. So even though IT is kind of one thing, like but continuing IT, it's not an easy thing. It doesn't have a like kind of end as part of the retirement or as part of the next step. Like I want to explore different opportunities wherein we have more flexibilities, we have like more control and then a more established model. So which will serve me better. That's why I felt like so probably like to align my passion as well as with this model. I just thought like I can explore it and give it a try. Like so far it's kind of going good, but I like to see how it takes me in the next couple of years.
And you're in the launch process. You've already got a product that's been selected. You're out in the market and you're selling. How has that learning experience kind of matched up with your expectations? And what maybe as part of that did you go, "Oh, I get this. I understood that." And then something else goes, "Nope, I didn't completely understand that at all." Is there any of those moments in this process that have hit you that way?
Yeah, I think like when I started it, like I think in Amazon it's constantly evolving. Like every week or even every day per se, we feel like the changes coming with all the AIs, especially around the fact the things, the listing, that images, the description that worked last month. Definitely, it is kind of like it's not for taken, right? So even the same with the advertising and campaigns, we see like every day when we review, we get good insights or kind of like different insights. Things are constantly evolving. That's one thing like I've kind of learned. Probably I might not be aware last year when I started it. I thought like once things are set, maybe it will go in a forward direction, but I realized that it is not always the fact. Like we need to constantly evolve and keep up with it, and then constantly make changes, probably like a controlled changes to see like what
Yeah.
works now or what works in Q4 doesn't work in Q1. So I definitely like, yeah, I kind of like learned a lot, especially understanding the different seasons, different consumer mindset. Definitely like it's a learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, still I'm learning,
Yeah, the
but
ebbs
I
and
would say
flows
like,
of a business
yeah,
model, right? That you haven't fully experienced for long enough to see that those are patterns
yeah.
of a business model, but you're learning it, which is amazing, and you're keeping up with it, which is awesome. And you're certainly doing something that, I wish more people would understand. And that's actually you're applying that learning, you're applying that logic. You're not
Yeah.
just consuming without action, which is
Yeah.
important, which is why I'm glad we're here today, with you, because you're actually an actionable person. It's what differentiates you from others. Is that a product of your time with your dad in business, or is that a product of your experience in life, your success and failures?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of my, I mean, based on my background, like we use a lot of kitchen products. My wife and myself, like, yeah, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen because we like to prepare all the meals, and then like we love home cooked foods, right? So definitely, like, yeah, it's kind of like started at home, like because there we use multiple products, and then like
Yeah.
and Indian cooking is not easy. Like Indian cooking, it's kind of like a bit complicated at times. Variety of meals that we cook. That's why like
Hmm.
this product idea, like we kind of thought like as we are starting the first brand, let's start with the product that we are more familiar with because we need to understand the product better. We need to know we should be the real users of the product. That's
Yeah.
why the first product we focused on the product that we are comfortable with. Hopefully the goal is to have more brands in the future. But the first brand we choose is based on the product we are comfortable with. My father
Yeah.
business is a different business. Like, I mean, he's my inspiration, I would say. Like, because like it's always like anything is done or anything is like if you set your mind right, he always has that attitude. Like, irrespective of
Hmm.
struggles and challenges, like he always like it going in the forward direction. And that's why like he's kind of like a successful businessman back home. Like that's kind of the like my inspiration I got from my childhood itself. Like, yeah, if you set your mind like, I mean, failures are definitely a stepping stone, right? It takes time, but if you put the right things, like it will definitely succeed, right? So that's where
Yeah.
like I got the inspiration, and then yeah. But the product wise, it's a product that we are comfortable with, so we thought it's a good idea to start with a comfortable product rather than an unknown product. Yeah,
In our process, what has made the difference between the determination of that product and others in terms of how you choose to sell it or understand its numbers in the, say, green light process?
Yeah, so definitely like the tools like that are offered, it definitely has a great deal, right? Because even though we understand product, unless we run through the business model and see like what it takes to make it kind of go through the pipeline, right? So definitely like all the voltage green light tools, right? And then the different options is and right. That definitely is like sometimes we feel that product is kind of like a great fit, but when we run through the tools, it may not be a great fit from a business point of view because end of the day like we want to like move it in the forward direction, we want to like make a revenue or profit out of it. So like the passion is one side, like that's a start, but definitely all the tools, so definitely it's of great help. I kind of leveraged it like especially in the last years, like during the initial stages, like all the tools like it is of great help. But after we become comfortable, like we don't use it on a regular basis, but definitely like then and there, like we need to cross check and then optimize. So
Yeah.
definitely the green light tool have been of immense help for me. And then like all the comparisons, and then yeah, it's a vital it's vital importance.
Getting optimized. Yeah, is a big deal. And also finding that profit and ensuring that you know your path to
Yeah.
profitability in your matrix. Where do your numbers currently stack up in terms of when you believe your products will hit profitability, or have they already? I know you broke into the top 100, which is a big accomplishment for your product test, right? Is this a product you're going to continue to move out to your full product launch?
Yeah, I mean, right now, like, yeah, I mean, right now, I'm kind of close to like 110K in the last 6 months. So, like, starting from October, that's when the three products with variations came into full effect, right?
1K a day?
So, and then, like, yeah, right now we are at like, yeah, 100K, like, we crossed 100K last month. And then, like, it's kind of like touching down to like 10 to 15K every month. And then, like, right now we are kind of like, I would say, like, it's not profitable yet, but we're pretty close to the kind of the profit. So right now, like we feel like in 2026, definitely it will be the profit cycle because 6 months is done, like the initial launch phase is done. Now we are in the kind of the growth phase, right? Just
Yep.
optimizing all the campaigns and
True.
stuff, reducing the spend because like in last year we need to go a bit aggressive on the campaigns and stuff just to get the initial kind of clicks and then the initial kind of like the product kind of impressions. So right now we feel like we have the good numbers in terms of the data, right? I would say
Yeah.
like data is kind of king, and then like yeah,
Yeah.
definitely like yeah, data are like looking in the forward direction, and then like they're making the tweaks to kind of take it to the next level. And that's
Well, the
where
big
like
lift is done. The one and done activities that get to market, the brand
yeah,
validation, product validation is well underway at 10 to 15,000. And in our 5x5 process, as you're looking for product 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's going to get a
yeah,
lot easier for you to see your roadmap. It's going to move a lot quicker. And do you feel that? Do you kind of see that now in the way the business is working? I know we explained it to you in the knowledge aspect, but are you starting to see it now in the execution?
yeah. So definitely like yeah, I think like some of the hurdles, if I say capital is one of the hurdles, like so far we kind of like use the own funding to kind of fund the business. I think the
Yeah.
first 1 year, like that's kind of the goal, like to use the own funding. But now that like we are in the kind of stepping in the growth phase, I'm exploring options for the capital because right now, even though there are product ideas in pipeline, like we need some kind of capital to kind of cover up for the next products and stuff.
Go for the
Right.
expansion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely like it is in the consideration for the growth phase, but definitely the 5x5 and those kind of things, like yeah, that's where we want to be at the end of 2026. Because like by end of 2026, we would have crossed a 1 year of launch, and then like it should be stepping to year two, which is where we want to see the growth
Yeah.
and then
Well,
the
that's good.
expansion. Yeah,
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 don't just get stuck with the one product, right? That's where
yeah,
that one
yeah,
product can take a little longer to become a great hero, but we're going to need to keep going through the process till you find that
yeah,
next one, the one that really rises up and takes off, where you have your oh shit moment. It's going to happen along the way. And we have under previous services, we have capital financing options, right? To go in
yeah,
and look
yeah,
if you, okay, so explore those because if you have operating capital now,
yeah.
then the debt services can come out of the business and can fund the inventory growth, which will obviously create a snowball necessary to kind of get to where you want to go. And
Ready to escape your grind? We help entrepreneurs build real wealth with private label brands. Visit voltagedm.com to start now.
speaking of where you want to go, like kind of where you've been, and actually, I have another question real quick about where you are. Have your kids gotten involved at all? I know your wife's involved and you kind of got the family. Have they been all involved as well?
Yeah, my kids, they enjoy it. Like right now, yes, they are kind of the design partners or like they like fun stuff, especially with the AIs and stuff. Like I will let them
Yeah,
explore some of the options. So definitely like, yeah, they helped us find the brand name. So because we are having the kind of the debate
that's
and
cool.
then the brand name. So kids kind of love it. My son especially, he checks the numbers every day. Like before going to bed,
Awesome.
he asked like how many sales today, and then and then he celebrated the milestone 100K because I
Yeah.
told him like I will get him a new PC once you reach 100K, and then like as soon as we reach 100K, I said, "Hey, where is my PC?" So he's really excited. And then
Oh, good
definitely
for him.
like yeah, it's kind
Awesome
of
getting
like
him involved.
yeah, the family
Yeah,
is
no, it's good to get them
excited.
involved.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and good lesson, good learning lesson around business and skill set. And as dad leads, the family's following. So that's amazing to hear and good to see occurring. Where do you see this ultimately going for you, Ganesh? Like what is what was your thought process, I guess, when you first started your big, hairy, audacious goals? And now that you're into it and you see it working and you cross the 100K mark, has that changed? Has it expanded? Has it, gone beyond your original thought processes? And where do you want to go?
yeah. I think my initial thought process was to kind of start and then see like what it takes in the 3 years. So I kind of set my initial goal at 3 years to see like for the big stuff because I'm pretty young still. Like I can't leave my main job, right? My main job is still a job I need to continue, but I kind of set my goal at 3 years just to see like where does this take, whether I can kind of invest full time in this one, take it to the next level, or how to kind of operate. I feel like pretty confident now that close to 1 year in this one, like I feel like I'm progressing well. But my the next milestone, still feel like I'll be revisiting in 2 more years, and then kind of I know like there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of learnings, and a lot of kind of room for expansion. But
Yes,
I feel
more channels,
yeah,
right? As we know,
yeah,
beyond
more
Amazon,
challenge.
right? Become a real business by getting on additional sales channels, right?
That's kind of the goal. So far I haven't explored the other channels. Like even though I wanted to, like I don't want to like step into too many things all at once and then creates kind of like a side effect or a ripple effect. So I just want to keep it simple, straightforward, effective, and then like step by step. Like I want kind of expand the range for sure. So that should be my goal for the next 2 years to kind of expand and then stabilize and then and see like where it takes in the next 2 years. So that's kind of my
Love it.
milestone for now. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, it's a great plan. You got your roadmap out. You probably have your next products mapped out now. So really, it's a matter of time and execution and capitalization, probably the most critical factor at the next level of growth. What else do you see from your perspective?
Yeah. I think like in terms of the learnings, right? So I think like even the capital, like as you talked about, Neil, like, yeah, so recently I reached to the Turbo Dash, right? So kind of like I had my initial session just to understand like how can they help. So I just finished my session last week. So, and then still I'm waiting for the update. So definitely like that's kind of the additional, the partners that the voltage provide, that's I definitely feel helpful, right? Because if you search or like there are so many options available, but unless it is streamlined better, like it's kind of like it's too risky like to try each and everything, right? So definitely that the services that voltage offers, I feel like it's a one stop where we can get all the different insights, even the PPC campaigns, like the Sophie things and then the training. So definitely those things are like for small brands, sometimes it's difficult to reach, but I feel like Voltage makes it easier to connect those things seamlessly, right? With all the other opportunities coming in. So yeah, I think the next one is coming up end of the month. So definitely really enjoy those kind of services because like one, it is trusted and kind of established, and also it makes it easier, especially for small brands to try it out. And so I definitely feel grateful for the voltage for making those opportunities accessible and very easily.
Well, we're excited to have people like you around who don't just walk the walk, you actually do it, and you don't just talk the talk. You actually get in there and do it, which is amazing. I guess my final question as we kind of wrap up here, because I don't want to keep putting you on the spot. You're doing amazing, and I appreciate your time spending it with us here. Is just anybody listening to this, what your thought process is, maybe your skepticism before you got going. You thought about courses and programs, you thought about what else you would do. Maybe if somebody's listening to this, what would you tell them if they're going through that thought process when they're listening to this right now?
Yes, I would say like, yeah. So I mean, so even though like the information is available, like I think we definitely we need to spend a lot of time in learning. So even in IT, we call it like, yeah, the more time you spend on planning, like the execution becomes simpler, right? So if
Yeah.
you directly jump into execution and then like go to the final stage and then like we try to see hey, what happened, then it's kind of like takes a longer path. I would say like start with the good planning, right? And then like spend more time, even if it takes additional months. Like the foundation is definitely key. It's a thing for any work, but I would definitely feel like don't go for shortcuts. Definitely like understand the basics, understand like start with the basics, even with the brand. Like yeah, make sure the brand registry started first, right? My brand is almost in the final stage of registration. The statement of use is already filed 3 months ago, and then I'm just waiting for the final paperwork to be done. So all within that 1 year, that fully. I mean, I kind of started in the beginning itself. I definitely tell to any audience like, yeah, the template doesn't like works the same for everybody. So we need to like understand things and then like make it optimized for our own playbook and then start executing like in a kind of a paced manner. So definitely it worked for me. Like I didn't jump the gun and some other things. Like even though it took longer, I kind of waited and then took the right path, which helped me like yeah, definitely to move forward in the right direction. So
Very
planning
good.
is planning is must. Yeah. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of planning to be done, and then when it's time to execute, we get going. Even if we jump the gun a few times, that's just part of the learning experience, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
to get to the execution. Yeah. Well, look, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a good word with us today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, guys, like, share, comment, engage, share this with somebody who might need to understand a little bit better the thought processes of getting started in a business, starting on a channel like Amazon and expanding your e-commerce as you grow out. And of course, as we always say at the end of the podcast, do something imperfect and something perfect will happen along the way. And I'll get you guys on the next episode. Ask you this. If you're serious about building an e-commerce business starting on Amazon FBA, what if myself and my team worked with you one-on-one to execute the steps outlined in the podcast while helping you discover what the heck to sell, how to make sure it's profitable, and how to successfully launch a brand, plus how to do it under a consulting plus performance-driven model where I put a $10,000 skin in the game guarantee for those that show up and are serious about building a real business done with us. If yes, text keyword profit to +1 417 413 4209. That's 1 417 413 4209. And I will personally respond with a few simple questions. If you're not in the US or Canada, please visit voltagedm.com. That's voltagedm.com. Click Get Started and book a no pressure discovery call with me or a member of my team to learn more about the Business Builders one-on-one coaching and mentoring for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and those looking to build an empire or retire using the power of e-commerce. Once again, thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of the High Voltage Business Builders podcast.